this Ole Miss-Alabama game, all right, because it's fascinating to me. Nick Saban says Jalen Miller will be the quarterback, after it seems like he got put in timeout last weekend against South Florida. It also seems to me that Kevin Steele apparently is still the defensive coordinator at Alabama after what Lane Kiffin said. But when you look at this from a matchup standpoint, Ole Miss has been tested a little bit. You saw him go down to Tulane. You saw him play Georgia Tech, which, by the way, Haynes King's playing a lot better than what I thought he would. Still, I don't think he's a great player. But when you look at this matchup with Alabama, the biggest question, I want to ask you, Tom Luginbill, this. You got Tommy Rees at OC, Nick Saban as head coach. I'm not saying you drastically change everything about the offense, but at what point do you sit here and realize you need to tailor the offense to what Jalen Miller does best, zone read, RPOs, get out of this 5-step drop game, stop trying to treat him like he's Sam Hartman, treat him like the Ferrari that he is, get him on the move, quarterback design runs. Does Alabama make a conscientious effort to stop being so damn stubborn on offense with Jalen Miller?
Well, they darn well better, because that's what they were lacking against Texas. I thought they would go into that game and Texas would have their hands full having to stop quarterback run. And they just didn't do it. It was almost like Tommy Rees was coaching an offense where Ian Book was the quarterback, And I look at this offense and I say, okay, what should this look like right now with this guy? I feel like it should look like Louisville with Lamar Jackson, where it's quarterback counter, quarterback lead, zone read. I just heard you guys talking about the Saints and what they do with Taysom Hill and some of the screen stuff and the moving around, and at least force Ole Miss to have to line up and account for an extra hat in the box in the run game, which would then in turn give you more one-on-ones on the outside, which makes the easier progression and the easier read for Jalen Miller when you do decide to throw it. And then when it comes to the passing game as a whole, nakeds, bootlegs, changing the launch point, moving him around. This 3 and 5 step within the pocket stuff that's not him. So they're going to have to come up with some better approaches to take on Ole Miss.
Yeah, and you have Pete Golding, a little narrative I don't think a lot of people are talking about outside of the Alabama fan base. Pete Golding, who was at Alabama, coming back to Alabama as Ole Miss's defensive coordinator. But on the other side, Lane Kiffin offensively against Alabama's defense. Alabama's front seven on defense wasn't able to generate a lot of pressure against Texas. I mean, South Florida, you might as well have played a triple option team with that kid at quarterback. I mean, they couldn't throw the ball at all. But if you're Ole Miss's offense, if you're Lane Kiffin going in there, he can dial it up. Do you think Bama's going to pressure Jackson Dart, or would you do what I would do if you're Alabama, because Jackson Dart struggles seeing intermediate defenders, even though he's been better this year, and try and still get there with 4, maybe 5-man pressures?
Well, having seen the Ole Miss and Tulane game, and I'm not saying this is going to carry over, but Tulane whipped Ole Miss up front. And they didn't have to do it with pressure. And so I think initially, if you're Alabama, you do try to do it with just your base package and just see if we're flat out better than
dip your toe in the water
up front. Right. Now, I think the other component to all of this is there going to be a healthy Quinshon Judkins? And will there be a healthy Trey Harris at wideout outside? Because, Trey Harris goes down versus Tulane, doesn't play versus Georgia Tech. Quinshon Judkins was injured versus Georgia Tech, played some, kind of gutted it out, but really was no factor against Tulane. And that's why Jackson Dart was so important this past week. It wasn't just what he did through the air, but what he did on the ground was necessary, because they're not getting it right now from Quinshon Judkins. So if Alabama doesn't feel like they've got to load up the box to stop the run, I think that benefits Alabama defensively. And then again, what's the personnel look like? Does Ole Miss have its full complement of weapons when they go to Tuscaloosa?
We're all fans of our friends at Genucel, okay? They're going to be number 1 on our top 10 skincare, all right, for men and women power ranking. It's not even close, actually. Don't just take my word for it. You can read all the testimonials on their website, which I'm going to get to, whether you got sunspots, brown spots, discoloration, or even inflamed red patches. All right, I know you don't want to talk about it, okay? And we can just keep it between us. All right, but you need to do something about it. All right. And Genucel, it's a must-have, okay? We've got record heat and humidity in a lot of places, which causes people skin problems as well. It's for men and women. And here's the Genucel Amazing Guarantee. You'll see results on day one, or they'll give you your money back. How about that? Well, only if everything in life worth that. Well, oh man, I got this hot dog. I took a bite. It tastes terrible. I want my money back. All right, they're not giving.
I'll take it.
That hot dog. Yeah, I know you will. The Glizzy Gobbler. So take advantage of Genucel's most popular package, which now includes the dark spot corrector, plus the classic Genucel bags and puffiness treatment and immediate effects. David, you use it for puffiness. You're basically Puffy the Vampire Slayer.
After you called me Puffy the Vampire Slayer, I'm
going to say it every time.
Some changes in my life. And now, thank God, I found Genucel.
That's it. You don't want spots, man.
Or bags.
You don't want to be 101 Dalmatians. Just be 100 other y'all just run around with spots all over yourself. But it's simple. Go to Genucel.com/booster. That's GENUCEL.com/booster. And you can look years, even decades younger tomorrow. You can Benjamin Button-Eyes yourself. So say goodbye to darkened liver spots, bags of puffiness under the eyes, and crow's feet at Genucel.com/booster. That's Genucel.com/booster. YouTube, hello. Good to see you. Here, please step right in. And also, while you're here, subscribe. Hit that like button. Turn the notification bell on. And tell your friends about us, because that'd be super duper sweet.